What's up guys, Event right here with another video for you guys. We are back on the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Today we're going to continue with the Barbarian. I did the Path of the Beast earlier. I'm going to be working on the Path of Wild Magic. Let me start off by saying, I love Wild Magic. Wild Magic Sorcerer, I love that class. I mean, there's more powerful sorcerers of course, but as far as role-playing goes, I mean, power isn't everything at the end of the day. But Wild Magic Sorcerer, I love it. The original Wild Charge Magic table, I didn't really like it too much, so I found one online. I presented it with my DM. He took a look at it and pretty cool with it. We had to do a tweak on it, and I'll try to remember to link that down below for the Wild Magic table that I use. On the 100, if you roll that, the next sentence spoken becomes true. Of course, I said I would use it nice if I ever got it. I mean, there's literally like a 1% chance of me getting it, but he still nixed it, which, I mean, he let me use the table, so I can't complain too much. But I love Wild Magic Sorcerer. So when I was surprised when I found the Wild Magic Barbarian, like I said in my last video, no interest in Barbarian, zero. I never planned on playing Barbarian, but I knew I was going to play one probably one day because I had zero interest playing in a Bard. And I finally played a Bard, and boy, I had so much fun playing Bard. Bard is, overall, I think if I had to pick a class, Bard is probably my favorite class in D&D. And I only recently played it a couple months ago. I literally had never played a Bard. I was like, music magic? That makes no sense, which tells you how much I've read over the class. I think they should get music magic, but it doesn't matter. And when I finished making my first Bard and I looked at all of my skills, and almost everything was above +10 or +7, or I can't remember, but it was high. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, and I like having high skills. Plus, I always waste time, and I wouldn't say I waste time, but I always invest in charisma-based skills. And the fact that the Bard has basically, if you play Eloquence, Bard Eloquence, you have the Silver Tongue feature, which is kind of like the Rogue's ability where you can't roll underneath a 10. So basically you will pass almost every reasonable, I had to put reasonable in there, every reasonable charisma check basically. So I mean, you can't just walk up into the throne room and tell the king, hey, get up on out of here, I'm gonna be taking over now, and expect it to go well. But it will definitely help overall in normal conversation and reasonable interactions. But anyways, what am I talking about Bards for? We're here for the Wild Magic Barbarian. So I took a look at the chart. The Wild Magic chart on here is much more simplified. You roll a d8 instead of a, let's see, I should double check on that because like I said, I don't use the regular Sorcerer Wild Magic chart. So I don't know how much is on there. If I had to guess, I'd say it's like a, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the regular Wild Magic chart is, but I know it doesn't have 8. And all 8 of these features, they're all positive features. So I'm just gonna go over them real quick. So I'm not gonna read the whole description, but if you roll a 1, each creature of your choice within 30 feet has to succeed on a Constitution save, or take 1d12 necrotic damage. You also can heal 1d12 temporary hit points. I don't know if that's the same roll, but I would say you roll 1d12 and they take that damage and you take that health. I wouldn't do them individually personally, but it doesn't actually say, so I would use the same roll for both of them. For 2, you can teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. Until this rage ends, you can use this feature again on each of your turns as a bonus action. So the way that's worded, I feel like the first one, when you teleport, I feel like the first one when you teleport is an action. No, actually it would be a bonus action because to trigger this, you have to enter a rage. So entering a rage would be your action, and then you would teleport as a bonus action. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, basically you get free Misty Step, a barbarian that can Misty Step. That is pretty crazy. A barbarian that can Misty Step because it's a bonus action and it's 30 feet. That's Misty Step. Misty Step is one of my favorite abilities, especially when I had been using it for a long time and I didn't know that it was a bonus action. But once I figured out that it was a bonus action and I could just do that all the time, whew, yep, that's pretty crazy. So number 3, an intangible creature, an intangible spirit appears 5 feet. At the end of your current turn, the spirit... Okay, so you can make a spirit appear within 30 feet of you. At the end of your current turn, you can make the spirit explode, and then each creature within 5 feet of it must make a dex saving throw or take 1d6 force damage. And until your rage ends, you can use this feature again, summoning another spirit on each of your turns as a bonus action. So it looks like there's a trend of bonus actions here, which is good because it doesn't take away from your actions or multiple attacks and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's only 1d6 damage, but it's a bonus action, so it could be worse. And then number 4, magic infuses the weapons you're holding. Until your rage ends, your weapon damage changes from piercing or slashing to force, and it gains the light and thrown properties. What? Are you telling me I can take my two-handed greatsword and chuck it? I can just yeet that thing down the battlefield. That is crazy to me. That is crazy. With a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. 20 feet is still pretty long to be throwing a greatsword. That's all I'm saying. If the weapon leaves your hand, it reappears at the end of your current turn. That is crazy. It just reappears. Yeah, this chart is amazing here. There's no need to tweak any of this. You just take it out as it is and it works fine. Number 5, whenever a creature hits you with an attack rolls before your rage ends, that creature takes 1d6 force damage as magic lashes out in retribution. That's crazy. I think there's see, I don't play paladin, so I don't know. But I think there's a paladin that whenever they get hit, it damages you too. So I think that's, I mean, it doesn't damage you. If you are the paladin and I hit you, I take damage for hitting you. So I think those are pretty cool. Just the nerve of you hitting me, you're gonna take damage. That's pretty funny. Number 6, when your rage ends, you're surrounded by a multicolored protective light, and you get +1 to your AC. Wow, within 10 whoa, wow. Your allies who are within 10 feet of you take the same bonus. So basically, that's a nice little buff right there that you can give to your whole squad. Everybody gets +1 to your AC. Barbarians typically already have pretty decent AC, so I'd say this is pretty good if you have a bunch of casters that are nearby. Like you have wizards, sorcerers, those guys who have lower ACs. This would be really nice, especially maybe during a boss fight. But I think the other features would be a little more interesting. Number 7, flowers and vines temporarily grow around you until your rage ends. The ground within 15 feet of you is difficult terrain for your enemies. So earlier when I said it could be worse, when I was referring to the spirit one, number 3, I said it could be worse, and this was the one I was referring to, difficult terrain. That is not very useful at all. In my campaigns, I tried to, whenever I DM, I try to implement difficult terrain, but as a player, we've almost never, ever used difficult terrain. So it's just something I usually don't implement in my own campaigns, even though I try to be my own DM and separate my methods from what I've basically not been raised in, but I've been accommodated to, because I'm still a fairly new DM. So I would like to use difficult terrain more, but it's not gonna come up, basically. It's not gonna come very often in my games, and it's not gonna come up very often in the games that I play. So this one is probably the least useful one to me. And it's only 15 feet. It's only 15 feet. I mean, like I said, this is, it's not that useful. Anyways, number 8, a bolt of light shoots from your chest. Another creature that you see within 30 feet must succeed on a constitution throw or take 1d6 radiant damage and be blinded for 1 minute. Oh, until the start of your next turn. Usually blindness is for 1 minute, so that's my fault. But still, they're blind for a whole, until the start of your next turn, they're blind for a whole round. That is so powerful because they have disadvantage on saving throws, and they have disadvantage on attacks for a whole round. That is crazy. That is probably the most useful one right there, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I can't recommend you taking one because you roll for these. But once you get to level 10, you can re-roll your roll on the table. But unfortunately, you don't get to pick between the two. you have to take the new effect. So it's kind of a bit of a gamble, but I definitely reroll if I get a 7, because I'd say pretty much everything is more useful than number 7, the one with the difficult terrain. But like I said, personally, I can only speak on things from my perspective in my campaigns. That is just not going to come up. So it's a useless feature. But yeah, let me just go over it. I spent all this time going over the wild magic table because that's going to be the main thing that comes with this class. But starting at level 3, you have magic awareness. As an action, you can sense magic, basically. So it's like a detect magic spell. You can just automatically detect magic that is being used within 60 feet of you, and it's not behind total cover. So it's a little bit nerfed because the magic that you sense has to be exposed. It has to be out in the open. It can't be hidden. And you can also learn which school of magic that the spell belongs to. If I had somebody in my party using this, I would definitely have to brush on the school of magics, because I just don't know all the school of magics as a DM. And I never ask when I'm a player what kind of school of magic it is. I should, because that would be super helpful. Maybe I'll throw that in my DM's binder that I'm working on. But I have a player, he is actually my DM in another campaign. So he'll always ask me, what kind of magic is it? What school of magic it is? And I say, I don't know. So I have to basically just describe it. So it's definitely something I can work on as a DM. But I don't know the schools of magic. And that's just one thing that I'll have to work on. We're not all perfect, but I don't know schools of magic. So I would definitely have to learn this. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. This is not, I wouldn't say it's that good. Compared to the Form of the Beast one that we did in the previous subclass, I think that feature is way better than this. The tail reaction feature, I'm in love with that. This, not so much. But level 3 is also when you earn your Wild Surge table. This paired together with the Wild Surge table is definitely better than the level 3 feat that you, level 3 feature that you get with the Primal Beast one. Level 6, you can use your wild magic to touch one creature and confer one of the following benefits. So for 10 minutes, that creature can roll a d3. Why would they do that? Do you know how many dice I have? Nothing crazy, but I'd probably say I have about 60 dice, and I have no D3s. So why would they put that in the book? Nobody has D3s. I don't know anybody who has a D3. Why would they put a D3 in here? I'd probably just roll a D4 and forget the 4. Like roll 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's what I would do probably. Or I would use one of those dice rolling apps. I'm sure they have a D3 on there. But why would they put a D3 in there? I know it's in the game, but nobody has D3s. Like if you buy a regular dice set, it does not come with a D3. But anyways, the creature can roll a D3 and they can add that number to their D20. So that's pretty cool. So it works for ability checks and it works with attacks. That's pretty cool because it lasts for 10 minutes. So you could probably get a whole combat encounter in there with you adding that D3 to your rolls. Pretty cool, I'd say. Or they can, oh no, they get both. No, you can only do one. So the Barbarian is the one that chooses. And at my table, I would probably make the Barbarian pick them. They would probably try to meta game and say, would you rather blah, 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 blah. Nope, Barbarian, you pick, give it to them. All right, next person's out. But anyways, they can regain one expended spell slot equal to the number rolled or lower. So basically they can regain up to a 3rd level spell slot. If they roll a 3, they can gain a level 3, 2, or 1 spell slot. If they roll a 2, they can get a 2 or a 1. If they roll a 1, they can regain a 1st level spell, which is pretty cool actually, especially at lower levels. Once you use this, you can't use it again to a long rest. So I'd say this is an amazing feature right here. The fact that you can basically give your team mini advantage. I wouldn't say it's like major advantage, but you get that +3, and that 3 can really matter sometimes, especially if you're playing in a game with glancing blows, where if your hit meets the AC, then you get some people when you hit the AC, it doesn't count. And then some people, when they play, you actually hit them, you do full damage. And then some people, how they play, they use glancing blows where you do half damage. I've always done it to where if you meet the AC, you do the full damage. But I've been thinking lately about trying the glancing blows thing because you didn't beat the AC, you met it. So glancing blows where you do half damage actually makes sense to me. So, but that +3 can definitely make a difference there. And regaining spell slots, that's a little more situational, but casters are always using spell slots. If they know that you can regain some of their spells, then they might try using some of those lower spells before blowing up their higher ones. But usually casters will use their highest level spells because they know that they're going to get them back probably, especially if you're in a campaign where the DM lets you long rest whenever you want. I try not to let them do that, just because you can't just long rest in the middle of a dungeon. You can't long rest in the middle of a battle. You're in hostile territory. You cannot long rest. You're not going to long rest. So, anyways, we already went over number 10, level 10, which is the unstable backlash. That's when you get to re-roll. Oh, I'm sorry. I've made a mistake. Sorry. Level 14 is when you can control it's called controlled surge. That's when you can roll the dice twice and you get to pick. Ignore everything I've said so far. Well, not everything. Everything I said about picking. So at level 14, which is pretty high, I don't know, we usually don't get that high in games. So you can roll 2 dice in that case, and then you get to pick which one you want to keep. I think that's pretty amazing. Then you can pick anything off this chart. That makes this class so much better. So much better. That is amazing if you can get to level 14. But anyways, level 10, this is whenever you fail a saving throw or whenever you take damage. Whenever you take damage, you get to roll on the wild magic table and you can do one of those effects. That is pretty crazy that the wild magic is so easy to use in here. Whenever you rage, you're going to get wild magic. Once you get to level 10, whenever you get hit, you get to use wild magic. When you get to level 10, whenever you fail a saving throw, you get to use wild magic. So you're going to be using wild magic all the time, and these are all positive effects. So there's no drawback to using the wild magic all the time. There's literally no drawback to you using the wild magic, and I think that's amazing. Overall, I think the wild magic one is better than the Path of the Beast subclass. I only played the Path of the Beast one first because it was the first one in the book that I wanted to play. So I was like, I'll start here and then go off. But with the COVID stuff going on, I have not been able to play D&D as much as I would like. So there's still plenty of other subclasses in this book. I was going to go over every subclass, but there's just some that I have no interest in. Unless you guys tell me otherwise, I'm probably just going to go over the ones that I find interesting. Or if these videos do super good, I might go over all the other subclasses. It's just that I know there's so many content creators out there that have already gone over this book in completion, gone over every subclass. I'm already late to the party, so I really only want to speak on things that I can feel passionate about, you know what I'm saying? And me, someone who's never taken up an interest in barbarians, with 2 new subclasses that are totally bad. These are totally bad. I'm trying to censor myself. Not bad. I want to say bad A, but my brothers watch these videos, so I don't want to cuss in here. But these subclasses go hard, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's crazy to me. And that's pretty much it on the Wild Magic Barbarian. Like I said, it's probably my favorite flavored barbarian, and I think it's going to be, I'm not super well versed in all of the barbarian subclasses. I know the names of them. I know which ones are usually considered good and everything like that. But the Wild Magic, the fact that you can do that all the time, I think that's pretty amazing. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on the Wild Magic Barbarian, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is Event Array. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.